A historic piece of the White House is disappearing. Demolition of the East Wing has begun, making way for President Trump's new $250 million ballroom. Franklin Roosevelt constructed the primary structure of the East Wing in 1942, and it's long served as the main entry point for guests and tourists. It was designed as a graceful passage toward the White House residence, lined with portraits of first ladies and framed to the south by the Jacqueline Kennedy Garden. Beyond its historic halls, the East Wing also houses the office of the First Lady and the White House Social Office. The White House on Monday started tearing down part of the East Wing to build President Donald Trump's ballroom. The Republican president has said he's adding a 90,000 square foot ballroom because the East Room, the largest room in the White House with an approximately 200-person capacity, is too small. Trump said the ballroom will fit 999 people.
If President Donald Trump didn't wait until after this weekend's massive No Kings protests, you can't help but wonder if he didn't wait until these protests were already done before today he started literally physically tearing down the White House. This is not AI. That is a real thing. I mean, the No King's Day protests saw 7 million Americans turning out in the streets, coast to coast, protesting against him this weekend. Imagine how many millions more there might have been if we had seen these images on Friday instead of him starting to do this today. Trump literally today sent a rental backhoe to physically rip down the East Wing of the White House. Okay. He's already paved the Rose Garden. Literally, he paved it. That's the Rose Garden, except, oh no, it's a patio at a Panera in a strip mall. He paved the Rose Garden. He took up parts of the White House lawn to put up huge flagpoles so he could fly novelty-size American flags over the White House to make it look like it's an RV dealership that's going out of business. He hung cheap gold decorations all over the Oval Office, just random little gold gewgaws to make it look like a Hilton Hotel banquet room in 1992 before the renovation. He tried to give away Eisenhower's sword as like a hostess gift to a foreign head of state. The head of the Eisenhower Presidential Library resigned in protest and said he wouldn't do it. Right? So this is how the man is treating the legacy, the physical legacy of the presidency of the United States. So maybe we should have seen it coming, right? Especially after he promised everybody this summer that to build this new ballroom he wants for himself. He promised this summer overtly that the construction of the new ballroom wouldn't affect anything else at the White House. He said everything else would be left intact. It, quote, won't interfere with the current building. As soon as he said that, we should have imagined him rolling the backhoes up to the White House to start literally ripping it down, which is what happened today. We should have known, but still nothing can quite prepare you for the sight of him actually doing it. Absolutely amazing. Surprise! Donald Trump is literally destroying the people's house because apparently he thinks it's his house and not ours, and I'm guessing he has no intention of moving out of it ever.
There you have it. Donald Trump demolished part of the White House today. And can we just say that this is entirely symbolic of everything that this administration is doing to this country? Donald Trump is building a ballroom for $250 million during a government shutdown when people are not being paid and 23 million Americans are waiting to find out whether or not they're going to be able to afford their health care. He's building a $250 million ballroom that nobody wants. He promised it would not disturb one nail on the original structure of the White House. And look at this. Look at this. This is a perfect metaphor for Donald Trump himself. He gets into our government and he destroys things. And that is all he knows how to do. Remember Lyndon Johnson saying anybody can tear down a barn, but it takes a carpenter to build one? This is Donald Trump tearing down not just a barn, but the White House. And not just the White House, but our institutions, our courts, our administrations, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, tearing down things that have cared for Americans sometimes for 50 years. This is what he does. He is a person who tears down after he's promised not to. Donald Trump respects nothing. He grabs anything he wants by the you-know-what. This is what he's doing to our entire country right now. And those of you who still can't see it, just wait. Next thing you know, something you care about so deeply will be gone just like this, and it can never be replaced.
Can the president actually demolish or remodel the White House? Technically, no. The White House doesn't belong to the president. It's federal property managed by the National Park Service and maintained by taxpayer money. So, while a president can pick the furniture, colors, or decorations, any major changes like tearing down walls or rebuilding require congressional approval and federal funding, according to the White House Historic Association and the National Park Service. The last time that happened was during Harry Truman's presidency, when the building was literally falling apart. Congress approved a full reconstruction in the late 1940s. But here's the twist. Under President Trump, a $200 to $250 million ballroom addition to the East Wing is underway, a 90,000 square foot expansion. The administration says the work can proceed because it's privately funded. The head of the National Capital Planning Commission, appointed by Trump, has said the demolition and site prep don't need commission approval, since the jurisdiction only covers vertical construction. But critics argue that still violates federal preservation rules. Since the White House is a National Historic Landmark, federal law requires that major renovations follow preservation standards set by the National Historic Preservation Act and oversight by the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation. So, even if it's privately funded, it raises the question, can any president really make changes to the People's House? Should a sitting president have that kind of power? Share your thoughts in the comments.
So let me just send this message to anybody who has the standing to sue, the law firms that are out there, the state attorney generals. Go and seek an injunction to block this construction. The argument that you should make is that Donald Trump engaged in fraud in saying that he alone was going to pay for it and that it wasn't going to impact in any way the existing structure. The emergency basis for your injunction is the photograph that we showed, that they just damaged the actual White House and they're destroying the East Wing, which is a violation. Get a court to enjoin or block further construction until such time as there's discovery in a transparent way who is funding this thing. Make the order, demand discovery, and then address the issues of the illegality, that it is a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution. That's the argument you need to make. Go and make it. I'm someone who leads a media network, okay? I'm not a practicing lawyer anymore. I don't do these things anymore. But please, somebody who's watching this, okay? Do what I just said and do it because it's the patriotic thing to do and it's the right thing to do because laws are being violated right now by Trump as a result of this destruction of the White House. Got it?
So we demolished the White House to distract from Epstein.
This is full and I'm on the run over the resort. Payload armed.
Copy that. Clear to drop.
Roger. Releasing the gift.
It's everywhere! Who in the world did this? Look at me!
2 points. The first thing is that this is not about money. There is enough money to bail out Argentina with $20 billion. There is enough money to purchase a brand new aircraft for $173 million for the Homeland Security Secretary. There is enough money to renovate the White House ballroom. What there's not enough money for under this Republican government is you. There's not enough money for you. And it is astonishing to me that the party in charge of the government literally won't show up to work during the second longest shutdown in American history. House Republicans have been gone for more than a month. More than a month. They've worked 2 weeks out of the last 3 months. Nice work if you can get it.
This is just the beginning, and people have to understand our democracy is being taken away from us. And we only have about a year, just to be clear about this. And people, you're doing a great job and a lot of other people are doing a good job to tell people what is actually happening in this country. But make no mistake, we have a year before this country becomes a full-on autocracy and democracy completely leaves us. And we're looking at the election in 2026, and Donald Trump knows, he knows that in a free and fair election, he will lose. He will lose the House. The House will flip and will become into Democratic hands. There'll be committee chairs that'll be able to hold hearings. And this is the last thing he wants. So this little, these ICE agents and the National Guard, and now he's called the military in from all over the world to talk to them about, don't be surprised when polling booths are surrounded by American military in the guise of making sure that the elections are fair and that nobody's tampering with anything. And when you see violence breaking out, which there'll be protests, there'll be inciting violence, there'll be some violence, and they'll kick back. Then you'll see the commandeering of voting machines, ballot boxes, to make sure that that election is secure. Well, what that means is that he will then commandeer the election. So we have to make the public absolutely aware that their democracy is being taken from them. And we have to do everything we can to make sure people understand that. People don't, it's a vague term, democracy. It's like, what does that mean? The Constitution, we don't know what that means. People care about their pocketbook issues, the price of eggs, they care about their health care, and they should. Those are the things that directly affect them. But if they lose their democracy, all of these rights, the freedom of speech, the freedom to pray.
I think banana republics around the world are laughing at us now, saying, man, we may be a corrupt government, but we could never get away with the shit that Trump is getting away with. I think banana republics are laughing at us. You know, Kim Jong-un and Putin are probably saying, man, we're some ruthless dictators, but we don't pull shit like Trump's pulling.
President, I've come to the Senate floor tonight to ring the alarm bells. We're in the most perilous moment, the biggest threat to our republic since the Civil War. President Trump is shredding our Constitution. Is it okay for mass federal agents to arrest people off the street because of their skin color or their accent? No way, not in a free America.
Public street, man.
Watch our back.
If it's against... No! Oh, mommy! You guys cannot take her!
Look. Why? It's illegal. Look. It's pregnant. It's pregnant.
We'll smash the window out and drag him out.
Hey, you can't do that!
There's a child!
across the street from the Capitol, where a large ice sculpture has been installed by the artist Ligorano Reese, a 5-foot-tall, 17-foot wide, 3,000-pound ice sculpture. And the point of the sculpture, I'm being told by the artist, is that democracy is actively melting in front of us right now.
Our democracy is melting when the Justice Department is weaponized to bring fake prosecutions against the enemy of the president. Our democracy is melting when the Defense Department bombs ships based on fabricated or unknown claims that would be illegal even if true. Our democracy is melting when the National Guard is illegally deployed on our streets. Our democracy is melting when today this U.S. Supreme Court seems poised to undermine the Voting Rights Act, arguably the most important protection for our democracy since the Civil War.
And time after time, people like my ancestors fought to make democracy real, and America continued to fight back.
That part.
In this moment, the Supreme Court will hear a case seeking to further erode voting rights. In this moment, gerrymandering is making it more difficult for people's voices to be heard. Politicians are choosing people, and people are not choosing politicians.
I had the distinct honor to speak to the chairman, Dr. Fred Hampton Jr. yesterday. And some of the stuff he was saying is identical to what you just said, which is democracy has always been a facade in this country. Talk to us about what do you think happens now?
What I hope is that people understand how fragile democracy is, how I like the language of facade, and it doesn't have to be this way. We've got the power to make this something else. I think one of the challenges is, and I get this from the chairman's father, Fred Hampton, that you can only keep what you have the power to keep. We can do more and can do better. I will never believe that this is the end, but we have to get up, organize, and not be afraid to build coalitional power.
We will not lose heart. The true function of freedom is to free somebody else. Let freedom ring.
You repeated the phrase, true freedom is?
The purpose of true freedom is to free somebody else, and that is coming from one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century, and that was Toni Morrison. You know, people who are gathered here, the artists, first of all, who took their incredible talent and time to sculpt that, to No More King's Day. Those people who are involved in those movements understand that in order for them to be free, to enjoy happiness, you got to be willing to free somebody.
Okay, everyone, you know how much I despise Kristi Noem. She is a horrible person. But I was scrolling Instagram. I found the cutest AI video of her as a baby.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I do look a little ghosty still. Not getting this thing dialed in right. But test. Let's see here. We got the mic. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, yeah, the microphone is working. These are the really Halloweeny looking colors, aren't they? I wonder if I could dial this in a little bit. Okay, let me just try this real quick. Don't you know? It's probably about as good as I'm gonna get it. Anyhow, good morning, everybody. It's 11:54 already. Gee, many Christmas. Where did the time go? It's almost noon. It's 75 degrees here in beautiful Las Vegas. Expected high of about 84 and a low of 60 overnight low. And I don't think we're having any rain. Looks like it's nice out. So thanks for being here, everybody. Good morning to you. I hope everything's going well with you guys. I know that not only is the world crumbling down around us, I think our White House is crumbling down around us. My goodness gracious. I'm almost afraid to look at the latest updates. If there's going to be anything left, he might just say, tear the whole thing down. Let's just build a whole new one. I ain't going anywhere. I want it to be able to wait. We'll make a Trump Tower right here. If the motherfucker could do it, he would do it. He would tear down the White House and just put a Trump Tower there. That's what he would do. Anyhow, good morning. I'm not able to go back to the top of the chat. I think I saw Damon Dog the Big Dog first, and then it doesn't matter who's first. I only mention that because I'm referencing where I start from. So this is not a competition, but I think Damon Dog, and I saw Sandy in there, and I know there was some other people. I'm not able to scroll all the way back to the beginning. The device will not let me do that. I'm right here where Josh says Oval Sandbox. Okay, just to give you a reference point. Jolie's here. Hey, Jolie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping out. Nick Rich is here. You got Kinky Streets in here. Mad Mac. Hey, Mad Mac, good to see you. Nick Rich says FDJT. Christina and Son Ghost Squad is here. Hey, Christina. Christina says, "Oh my God, I didn't get here at exactly 2:00, but I made it." I was extremely late. I was editing that little intro there, and I just totally lost track of time. All of a sudden, I had Hal Sparks playing on my TV, and all of a sudden I hear him go like, "Okay, that's it. We got to, he was like telling Phil, okay, we got to end the show, and I'm like, what? I'm like, fuck, is it 11 already? Fuck. And I was still editing. So sorry about that, but I hope it was worth it. I like that one. I thought it was a good one. As far as the top of the news is the White House being torn apart, and also the continuation of Trump's back-assward policies and keeping the government shut down and going out and setting his goons out to just pluck people off the streets illegally. And Jolie says that disgusting MFer thinks that's his house. That's our fucking house. I'm furious. I'm furious too, and it makes me sick to my stomach to see what's going on over there. Let's see who else is in the chat. DPD 5844 is here. Good to see you. DPD, I guess I'm kind of mid-thread already. DPD 5844 says Kinky Streets That is very disrespectful. The White House belongs to all of us, including the White House was built off the backs and knees of slaves and immigrants for free. Hope you understand this. Well, I think, if nothing else, as was alluded to in the videos there, it is a great metaphor for what Trump does and what he's doing to the country, what he's doing to our Constitution, tearing it apart, shredding it apart, and we can see it right there with what he's doing to the White House. He's tearing it apart, shredding it, and then he wants to make something of his own design, I guess. He would love nothing more than to tear up the Constitution and just replace it with Project 2025, I guess. I don't know. Marsha Jones is here. Marsha says he's a tenant, not the owner. Right. That's right. Michelle, hey, it's our taxpayer money. And like Ben Mycelis says, if there's a lawyer out there that has standing, and you're a practicing lawyer, sue the motherfucker. Get an injunction. Get him to stop doing this. Falcor says Trump is a poor person's idea of a rich man, a weak person's idea of a strong man, and a stupid person's idea of a smart man. That was in quotes. I'm not sure if that's attributed to someone, or if it's just gone off into the folklore or whatever, into the commons. Gino Maynard is here. Gino says I don't need to worship a building to know that normalizing Donnie's behavior is equally destructive. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is about worshiping a building. No one is worshiping the building, but it is that the White House is symbolic and iconic. So, and for me, I think the fact that he's just doing it without any authorization is probably the worst part about it. It just shows it's just another example of his authoritarianism. He thinks he's a dictator. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. And there are procedures, as was outlined in the intro, that need to be followed if you're going to make any remodeling or new construction or demolition of the White House. It has to get congressional approval. It has to get approval, and I don't believe that he's done that. So to me, that's the really big problem. There's no approval, and where's the oversight? That's really the issue for it, the main issue, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not worshiping the building. I'm sad about the loss of accountability by this president and of this president. Because once that thing gets built, it's going to be there. I don't think it'll be some tacky looking appendage, and it'll be there forever. Because they're not going to tear it down. Like the next president is going to go, okay, we're going to tear that thing down. They're not going to tear it down, especially if it's a Democrat, because they're going to go, that would be a waste of money. We're stuck with it, and we'll make the best of it. But we're going to be stuck with it forever now, unless they can get an injunction now and stop where they're at, and then they can patch that fucking hole up. They can rebuild the wall. Let's build the wall. But But once they build the building, the actual ballroom, and complete it, then it's going to be there for fucking ever until whenever, right? And we'll be stuck with that fucking eyesore. Tiki Street says, oh, well, this was deleted, I guess, but Tiki Street says the ballroom is a clue Trump doesn't plan to leave. And that is and you seem to have some problem with Rachel Maddow, and I believe that's exactly how she ended her little segment there, with almost verbatim there. DPD 5844 says, I'm choosing to disengage with your nonsense. Okay, that's a little flame war between you guys. I don't have to read that. Barbara Nicholas says it's going to be bigger than the White House. Well, like I've said, they should just, when the next Democrat gets in there, they should turn it into a freaking homeless shelter or something. Christina and Sun Go Squad says, I think we have to change voting altogether. I think you go up to the machine, and instead of this paper bullshit, you record a video with your name, your voter ID number, and who you're voting for. I'm not sure what we can trust. I'm not sure if I can even trust that. I don't know, Foul Course says carry mace and bear spray. Yeah, with all the things going on with the unidentified masked people grabbing people, that might be. Of course, then they'd probably just shoot you or something, but. Christina says, then you press a button of who you want, so it records it fast, and then if they have to go through it, they can play every freaking video. I just hope, that our voting, when we vote, that everything is on the up and up, Michelle says New York today pushed ICE out. Gino Maynard says, having pride in parts of our history isn't worship. Donald is disrespecting our citizens and our history. Yeah, it just shows a total lack of any understanding of history. But it's just, but maybe, maybe it is just another distraction. Like there was a little AI thing that I put in there about, distracts us from Epstein, and it's working beautifully, because here I am sitting here doing 20 minutes talking about the White House, and we haven't even talked about Epstein at all until just now. Gina Maynard said ICE lowered athletic requirements to increase recruitment. Sounds strangely familiar. Yeah, I was watching 21st Century Suffragettes yesterday, and Diane, or I guess it was Diane, whoever brought it up, that like they lowered a requirement where you have to run a mile in 14 minutes. And then I saw Christina, I guess, made a comment like, I could do that with my cane. I could do it faster than that with my cane. And I was thinking the same thing. Like when I walk, because I kind of time myself, from here to Denny's is about a mile, and I think that takes me with the stoplight. Okay, it took me like 15 minutes. That's with the stop sign, with the stoplight. So with no stoplight, I would be probably under 14 minutes. Just me and my old walking to Denny's, which is about a mile from here, because I've measured it and timed it and everything else. That's probably, like I say, without that stupid stoplight, it's probably less than 14 minutes. And I'm a slow walker. That's pretty sad. I guess I could pass the physical. Still try to get that signing bonus. Anyhow, Christina says, I haven't seen any in Queens, New York. I'm surprised because we have a big mix of all sorts of immigrants, Greeks, Italians, Egyptians, blacks, Hispanics, aerobic, and Filipino. I like the aerobic ones. You know, they're healthy. They're getting some good, building their lung capacity. Don't touch the aerobics. Ice. Hands off the aerobics. Sandy Phil says, where's Trucker John? Where the fuck was he? I was really super late. Sorry, Sandy. I know I was about a half hour late, I think. But hopefully it was worth the wait. I don't know. Now the one thing about this black background is I can read the chat up here really good. Jolie says, I walk a mile on a treadmill in 12 minutes. Oh, yeah, I guess I should fill in the blank. Let's see. What do I have? I do have a meme. I do have an update. Got an update. Here's an update. On the, it says, revised counts have the No Kings protest at nearly 12 million people in attendance. 7 million is how many signed up. And then, so I guess an extra 5 million, came. Now, I was one of the people that signed up, but then I didn't. Then they sent me the No Kings organizers. They sent me a follow up email, and they asked me like if I made it. It was like yes, no, and or something. I don't know. But I just put I didn't attend, and then because I was late, even though I got there, and there were still a couple people with signs, but I just said no, I didn't. I was late. Or I didn't. I just said no. I didn't make it. But anyhow, yeah. Let's go ahead. So let's keep that going. And then what other meme did I have? I had another meme that we can put in there. Oh, it was a White House thing. Oh yeah. Or talking about the shutdown. In the GOP shutdown, release the files. And stop tearing down the goddamn White House. Well, I added that part, but let's make sure we know that we emphasize that this is the GOP shutdown. And as also one of the clips in the intro, that senator, forget his name now, the guy I'd never seen before, but he's a U.S. senator, Democrat, put it very well that it kind of exposed the Republicans for the phonies they are when, they've been out of town for over a month. They're like on a vacation or something. This is the GOP shutdown. This is not the Democratic shutdown. So we need to emphasize that, I think, in my opinion. DPD 5844 says Moses Mike Grinder Johnson is waiting for an older Democrat to die in Congress before he swears in a newly elected Congresswoman from Arizona. So the number will be 217. Little motherfucker. Well, you never know, right? Hello, Christina Weibel. Christina Weibel says hello, everyone. Nick Rich, 1153. That's just about when I came in. I know it was just about coming in. Stephen Sayers, remember for 11 months? Happy Truckerversary, Stephen Sayers. Thank you so much for being a member. I do appreciate you. Stephen says, over the past year, I don't feel any better off. Yeah. I think we've all gone downhill, especially the last 10 months. I think we're not feeling any better. But thank you, Stephen, for being a member. I appreciate it. Happy Truckerversary. Thank you so much. Memberships are a great way to support the show, and we have them starting off as low as $1.99 a month, if you want to think about it. We got 42 watching, 40 thumbs up, so we are operating at a slight deficit. Let's get a little more like good Democrats there and get to a balanced budget if we could. That would be great. Hit that like button. Hitting the like button is a great way of supporting the show. Helps us get out into the algorithm. Speaking of algorithm, this is Wednesday, so tonight at 8 p.m. Central is Liberal Dan, right here on YouTube. Great show. I highly suggest everyone check it out. I do highly suggest it. There's Damon Dog coming back in. I saw Damon Dog at the top there. Tim Farrell, the Farrell one's here. Hey, Tim Farrell, good to see you. I don't think Tim Farrell likes me saying the Farrell one. I think Tim Farrell gets maybe a little irritated. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Josh says, I got a new refrigerator delivered today. It had a tiny dent, so they're refunding me 20%. Well, that's good. That's cool. I like to hear that when you get some good customer service. Tim Farrell, 56. Don't know what that was about. 56. Maybe that's the temperature. I don't know. Chris Doug's here. Hey, Chris Doug, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the driver's lounge today. Stephanie B2's here. Hey, Steph, good to see you. Stephanie says, I don't know if that's an intentional misspelling or just a typo, because you never know when people are talking about Trump. But it does say Trump. Would have it rebuilt like a Russia's Taj Mahal. Russian Taj Mahal. No, I could just see him putting up his gaudy, just a big fucking tower with all glass windows. But I could see him just doing that. Marsha Jones says, can't wait to see his Epstein ballroom. I know, I was thinking about names for the ballroom, like not so much what Trump's going to name it, but when the next Democrat gets in there, and we're going to be stuck with that fucking monstrosity, what a Democrat should name it. Because they're probably, they always name shit, right? So the ballroom will probably be, like Trump will probably call it, he'll probably just name it after himself, the Trump ballroom. He has a Trump tower, let's be Trump ballroom or some shit. But when the Democrats get back in and have a Democratic president, they should name it something like, MLK ballroom or something like that. The Obama ballroom, something that just really would piss them off. David Dog, I'd love a new fridge. That's one thing about this apartment. The fridge that I got was brand spanking new. It still had all the little packing tape, that little blue packing tape inside that they put on so the shelves don't like move around when they move it. So I know it was brand spanking new. DPD 5844 says Ace Co Construction LLC in Maryland is the company that demolished the East Wing. And I wouldn't say they demolished the East Wing. They've demolished the wall. But because that's where the entrance is going to be, like, to the ballroom. Anyhow, whatever. We must put pressure on them. This is illegal and highly unethical, and they should not be allowed to fuck up our house. And I think that Ben Mycelis, their name is weird. Anyhow, Mycelis, kind of he outlined, the whole thing. So, Josh says, Christina, I freaking love that dent. Yeah, that's 20% discount, man. Petrazi Utility says, I dozed off for a minute. Hello, everyone. Christina and Sun Go Squad says, that was a good one, John. You should take those little clips that you make for the front and do a whole compilation at the end of the week? Am I getting you more views because you're having videos? I don't know. I get a lot of views. I don't really get a lot of views on those. I think I get more views just on the actual live stream, but I do put every day after the show, I do repost the intro. I haven't done like the whole week's worth. I guess I could do that. So that would be because each intro is usually between 15 and 20 minutes long. So you would have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 minutes for the, like, if you put them all together at the end. And then but some of those only get 40 or 50 views. I've had a couple that got into the hundreds of views. It just depends on the topic, I guess, or how if I get lucky with the thumbnail or lucky with the title, it seems to draw people. Some of the ones with Trump, Trump stuff, or the Portland stuff, some of the Portland ICE and stuff like that, protest, did kind of well, just getting like 200 or something. But most of the time it's like 20 or 30 views or so. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's getting a lot of views. It's not really getting a lot of views, but I put them up there anyhow because they're, I like the intros, and that's, I think I put them all together in a separate playlist. So at least I have them all there, and I guess I'm doing it more just for myself and for a few other people who like the intros. But every day after the show, I do post the intro on its own separate post. If you guys want to check them out, if you want to just watch the intro and not watch the rest of the show, rest of the live stream. Bethany S. Arbaugh is here. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the driver's lounge today. We've got Maga Icopetto is here. Not sure if I've seen you before. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you being with us today. There's Jen up the base. Jen up the base is here. Jen says, talking to Stephanie, says, hi, Stephanie, good to see you. My hip replacement surgery date set for November 17th. Look at Jen up the base getting a new hip on the 17th, just in time for the next No Kings event, which I think is going to be on the 22nd. You might be laid up still. It's only 5 days. Yeah, circle your calendar for November 22nd. I don't know what they're calling it. I think they should just call it general strike at this point, or at some point this organization is going to get so big. I think they could just call for a general strike. They could co-opt my deal on January 1st. Trucker John Big Dump is what I was calling it, the Big Dump general strike. Maybe I should get in touch with No Kings and we can work together on that, because at this point we should just do a general strike. Even I think the mayor of Chicago is calling for a general strike. I think people are listening to me. After all, maybe people are listening to me. Huh? I've been calling for a general strike. The Trucker John Big Dump Truck, the Big Dump Truck. There you go. The Trucker John Big Dump Truck general strike. Hey, look at that. We are like good Democrats. 42 watches, 42 thumbs up. So we're at a balanced budget. Now we just need to get more people watching. Anyhow, good to see you guys. Petrozzi's here. Petrozzi says the construction crew is crushing all the windows. Yeah, apparently they're just going to take that wall out, and that's going to be the entrance into the ballroom. Christina says, and Son Ghost says, right, because if I was to tear down my front stairs and try to rebuild them without a permit, I'd be fined up the ass. That's the thing. I mean, I'm assuming he's got a permit, but you know what happens when you assume? You make an assumee out of me. That's why, where's the approval? Where's the congressional approval? Where's the oversight? This isn't about worshiping the building. I'm not worshiping the fucking building. I just want to know, where's the oversight? Where's the approval? Is he just acting like a fucking king after we did the No Kings Day? Uh, 56 Nick Rich says there are plans to tear down the FBI building too. Cash mentioned it. I think he mentioned it like even before he was FBI director. So yeah, don't be surprised if we see a wrecking ball over there sometime soon too. Apparently. Twisted Nerve Painting says, Trucker John, good afternoon, John. Well, thank you very much. Right back at you, Twisted Nerve Painting. Thanks for coming on in and hanging on out. Victor Harshman's here. Victor says, can we add imprisonment for violating our governmental checks and balances? Well, he should be in prison for a lot of things. Sexual assault, not the E.G. Carroll, because that was a civil case, but I'm sure there are other sexual assault and cases that he could be put in prison for, if they went to trial for those. I think he could be put to prison for inciting an insurrection, for being a traitor, basically. I think he could be in prison for that. David Dog says satire. Satire, satire. Marshall Jones says, isn't it a protected building due to its history? I don't know if it has that historical. I don't think it does have that. But there's definitely protocols and procedures and approvals that's supposed to go through. And I haven't heard Congress going out, oh yeah, we gave them approval. I haven't heard anyone come out and say that. Stephen Sayers, why don't we sue Trump? Well, if you saw the clip, you saw that Ben Meiselas laid that all out on how to do that. If you have standing and you're a lawyer, or even if you could hire a lawyer if you have standing, and you could sue. You have to have standing. Standing means, how is this affecting you? Like, what something is doing, how is it affecting you? What is it doing to you? Do you have standing? That's the thing. Otherwise, the court will push it out. But I think the other members of Congress could stand up and go, hey, wait a minute, we never fucking approved this. They could do that, and that's not a court thing. That's not standing. That's fucking Congress. But of course, government is shut down, so I guess they won't do anything until the government is back open. Stephen Sayers says, Dinky Cankles will want to change state lines one of these days. Josh says, Stephen, I'm confused that he hasn't renamed New Mexico yet. We're going to call it New Trump. Danny Pomeroy's here. Hey, Danny, good to see you. Danny says, that structure is so compromised now, it's apparent the contractor doing the job is lost, and maybe the same one's doing the border wall. Trump likes contractors that give him 10% cash under the table. I believe that was a load-bearing wall. Who knows? They might just collapse the whole goddamn White House, Which again, great metaphor for what Trump is doing to the country. Barbara Nicholas says, Trucker, the White House is 55,000 square feet. Ballroom will be 90,000 square feet. Almost twice as big. I think it's going to be almost, what a monstrosity. I did use the word monstrosity, and I think that fits. think it's going to be twice as big almost as the White House. Victor Harshman, we need publicly funded campaigns. Everybody gets the same amount of money and airtime. Could be like an American Idol elimination type thing. We've been trying to get campaign finance reform for decades and decades and decades. And until we stop voting for Republicans, we're never going to get it. And it does become kind of a catch-22 in a sense. Nick Rich says 1 acre is 43,000 square feet, so it's almost 2 acres or so, I guess. I didn't even know there was that much room right there. Michelle, he did that with the garden. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we know he made a big patio out of it, just a big concrete slab. Tim Farrell says, why haven't you used Jesse's turtles in a Franklin video at Jolie? Oh, that was just for Jolie. Michelle, class action lawsuit. DPD 5844. Wait till they have Denny's. I haven't seen one of those in years. But wait, they have fucking Denny's all over the place. Are you kidding me? There must be 50 of them just in the Las Vegas area alone. Or not 50, but there's probably 30. Josh says 12 million is that threshold. Is that the 3.5% that what they kind of mentioned in there? They say 3.5% saddle up. Well, I think we need to keep going with the protests and the marching and get more and more and more people out there. Nick Rich 1212. What am I? How many minutes behind am I? Is he 1? Carry the 2. I believe I'm about 18 minutes behind. Hey, Jojo Mojo Jojo. I haven't seen Jojo Mojo Jojo in a long time. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for popping in. Jojo Mojo Jojo says, hello, John and everyone. Hope all is well as possible. Yeah. We're hanging in there. We're doing our best to survive. Today, I think we're on a daily survival mode. That's what Trump has put us in, this daily survival mode. You know? Tiffreel says, you don't irritate me, Trucker. Oh, good. I'm glad to. Thank you for the feedback on that. So, you know. Because sometimes, you never know how someone's going to take something. If I kind of not make fun of the name, but if I make a little joke or something, you never know how someone takes it. You know, because I always say Tim Farrell, the Farrell one. So I don't want to, offend you if that was the case, if that were the case. So thanks for the feedback. So now I can just call you the Farrell one all day long, and not feel guilty or bad about it. Anyhow, Michelle says it will be snowing on the White House soon. Yeah, then what are they going to do? All that snow is going to go right in through the big gaping hole there. Jojo Mojo Jojo says, sigh. I guess sigh. Like a sigh. Seeing that happening to the White House has deeply damaged me. It is sad, and for a lot of reasons, it is very sad, and it's maddening because to me the main thing is, Trump doesn't have the authority to do it, and he's doing it anyway, and he's getting away with it. That's the frustrating thing, is that he keeps getting away with shit. He just does. Well, it is like when he said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose one vote, or whatever the end of the quote was. Talking about MAGA, he wouldn't lose any support. And we see that over and over and over again. All the fucking shit that he does. Although he has been losing support, and he is very unpopular, but he's still there. He's still in the White House. He's still fucking president, and he needs to be fucking impeached and removed. Twisted Nerve Painting says we need to start calling it a throne room because that is what Trump thinks it will be used for, a place all the world's authoritarians and dictators can come to kiss his ample ass. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I bet you I wouldn't be surprised if in that the so-called ballroom, at one end of it is going to be a giant throne, a big golden, it'll be all gold, and it's going to have steps that go up to it, and he's going to sit there in his big fucking golden throne, and he can watch all of his little guests in the ballroom, and he'll look down on them. This is total fucking egomaniac shit. Total fucking egomaniac. Tim Friel says, I hope Trump lives long enough to see the ballroom torn down and his flagpole turned into a wind turbine. Yeah, I wonder if they would tear it down, because like I was saying earlier that once it's built, they're not going to, even when a Democrat gets in there, they're not going to tear it down. But maybe they should tear it down. I don't know. But I'm just thinking a Democrat would say, well, we're not going to spend money on that and all that kind of shit, but to tear it down. But I bet you there would be more people in favor of tearing it down than trying to keep it and use it for something good or or whatever, Because realistically, I don't think you could really put a homeless shelter in there right next to the White House. I don't know. Maybe you could, but I'm just thinking of security things, issues, and whatever. Stinker, hey Stinker, good to see you. Stinker says this POS said no existing building would be affected to put this ugly billionaire ballroom. And boy, is it being affected. When you see the whole side of it being ripped out like that, if that's not being affected, then I don't know what is, right? I might be mid-thread. I didn't see where Twisted Nerve Painting made any comment about White Castle, but DPD 5844 says, really, that's interesting. Should I go back and see what the comment was about White Castle? I don't know. No, I'm not going to go back. But DPD says something about my parents met at White Castle. I've been married for 64 years. I guess you can find more than bad food and diarrhea, but you can also find true love. Nick Rich, 20 past the hour. I'm 16 minutes behind you. 16 minutes isn't too bad. I don't think that's too bad. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says you got to do the best of the week and do it like 20 minutes video, because videos actually can hype. You can hype, and then more people will see it, and it will hit the algorithm differently. Yeah, you just never know what's going to hit. That's for sure. Petrazi 20 says, my parents met at Disneyland in Anaheim after 55 years together. My mom jokes it wasn't the happiest place on earth that night. That's funny. Mad Max says, I like the intros. Even when I come in late, I go to the intros first and then catch up to you live. Thank you, Mad Mac. I know Mad Mac actually kind of inspired me to keep doing the intros, because Mad Mac has commented before that he really appreciates watching them. It may have been Mad Mac that gave me the idea to do the intro or something. I don't know. Danny Pomeroy says, well, now that we got no trolls, let's vote on Fourth Strike on the 7th. MJ Daniel, no stinking king, no emperors, and no mob bosses. F-47. Alvin Stoops here. Hey, Alvin, good to see you. Thanks for popping on into the old driver's lounge. Michelle, stop buying on Friday. We could do a stop buying, no buy on stuff on Fridays. There's a lot of stuff we could do, and I think we're going to start seeing more and more stuff that we're going to be doing because people are not happy. Actually, we're seeing that there's a lot of people not happy with Trump and what's going on in Washington, especially as the shutdown continues to linger. You know, people are going to get more and more pissed, and as people start losing their health care. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says, I've been saying all along the blue states should just stop paying federal taxes and put it back to the other people and screw Trump. It may come down to that. You know? Sometimes, you know, I mean that would be a big actually a big deal. So a lot of shit would have to go down, I think, before that happened, but you never know. Gina Maynard said they sank the 7th ship off the coast of Venezuela. That needs to be called out. Why are we not getting more fucking enraged and infuriated about that? And why? Well, you know, I realize that Congress is closed, but you know, there are these things called microphones and things called cameras, and the Democratic leadership should just be every single day railing against that, about these extrajudicial murders that fucking Trump is doing, that Trump is carrying out. He's murdering, just fucking out and out murdering people. Hey, we got Starch Manning with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Starch Manning. Yippee! Going out to you. There's my shout out. Starch Manning says, can't spell hatred without red hat. Let's see, really? Let's see. I guess so. There's the red and there's the hat. Look at that. Look at that. You're right. It's almost like it's in like in verse, the two syllables there, kind of. Well, kind of. Although I guess you would need an E. You left the E out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Sarge Manning. I do appreciate the super chat. We're 1/5 of the way to the goal, so thank you so much for getting us started on the goal there. Josh says genital strike right in the ballroom. Oh, Josh, you're so funny. Yeah, a genital strike right in the ballroom. MJ Daniel says DJT thinks he owns the White House and we work for him, tearing down history to build the Epstein ballroom. And of course, in the ballroom, he's going to have, I guess, dances, and he's going to sit there with his laptop, and he's going to play DJ. Is that what he wants to do? What a louse of a president. President Trump, I'm just telling you, you're a fucking louse. He hates it when you call him louse. Or he hates it when I call him louse. Hey, Donnie boy, you're a louse. There. He hates that. I know he does. I know he hates it. So I'm going to keep calling him a louse. Hey, Trump, you're a louse. Danny Pomeroy says the Antifa Congress is on strike and is on strike now, John. The Republicans went south for the winter. So it seems. Elizabeth Martinez is here. Hey, Elizabeth, good to see you. Elizabeth says, buenos dias, John. I've been working and I'm watching you on the side. Hola to all. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Appreciate you being here. I do appreciate you. There's Mad Mac again. Michelle says, probably a casino in the White House. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, you guys are bringing things up. I never even thought about that. Yeah. DPD 5844 says, anyone ever wonder why Moses Mike Grinder Johnson's face is always glistening? Because he loves his semen facials 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sunday. Oh boy. Oh boy. But who doesn't? By the way, MJ Daniel says he needs a nice padded cell. We're talking about Trump, I guess, where he can write Obama on the walls with his toes like the Pink Panther movies. Mad Mac, the White House is an historical landmark. So there's that. If that's, I don't know if it's been officially designated as such, but certainly in our hearts it is. But I would imagine that it would have been. So I'm sure he's violating all kinds of fucking laws and rules and regulations. But laws and rules and regulations, those are for losers. Apparently, according to Trump. I would bet. I would guess. Twisted Penny says the White House is the people's house, especially with him saying that he and the richest GOP donors are paying for it, turns the White House into the dictator's house. The dictator's ballroom. Elizabeth says if we stand together and go against the billionaires, no shopping 1 week, no gas, it will be a sacrifice, yes, but to them it will hurt their dollars, which they only care about. Then they will turn on Trump. Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. That's how you get their attention. And believe me, the 7 million, whether it was 7 million or 12 million, that's getting their attention. And if we keep doing this and we keep getting 10, 12, 15 million, 18 million, 20 million, the more people we get, the more it's going to really put the fear into these fucking oligarchs. They don't like it when we come together. They don't want us coming together. They want us fighting each other. They don't want us coming together against them because they know we outnumber them fucking 1 billion to 1. I know there's not 1 billion people in America. I know, but you know what I mean. Danny Pomeroy says we Americans need to all just have Medicare for all. Hold the line, generals. Don't conduct crimes against Americans. Democracy for all, just like Medicare for all. I agree. I think we do need Medicare for all. I agree with that. MJ Daniel, Epstein parking lot to go along with the Epstein ballroom. Damon Dog says I almost stopped at Denny's for lunch in Virginia, decided for Arby's instead. I like Arby's. I like the brisket sandwich. That's usually what I get. I think it's the brisket. It's a pretty good sandwich. Elizabeth Martinez says, what's the movie A Day Without a Mexican? The American people should follow this example for 1 week. The billionaires will freak out. Absolutely. 100%, Elizabeth. And I don't even think it would take a week. I think it would take like 3 days, 2-3 days. I mean, if it was absolute, like no one did anything, no shopping, no nothing, didn't buy gas, didn't buy any groceries, didn't spend money on anything, just stayed home, just hunkered down. After 3 days, they would be totally freaked out, and they'd be going, "What do you want? Fuck, we want fucking Trump's head on a fucking pike, motherfuckers!" And we would see his head on a pike within day 3. It's that satire. That was satire, and it was metaphorical satire. But we'd say lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. And they would lock his ass up. They would fucking pull him out. They would just fucking pull him right out of the fucking White House and throw his ass in fucking prison. I'm not kidding. If it was an absolute shutdown, and there was like nothing, we just totally grinded everything to a halt. And we started saying, like, lock him up, they would lock him up. I believe that. I totally believe that. That's why I've always been advocating for the big Trucker John general strike dump. Damon Dog, I'm lurking and working with just a little bit of twerking. I could just imagine Damon Dog twerking. You need to make a video of that, Damon Dog. That's the video I want to see. Damon Dog twerking. Jen at the base says, Trucker John, you do, in fact, irritate me, TJ. How's that for feedback? Well, I'm glad to hear that, because that's mission accomplished. Like, I kind of felt bad if I was irritating Tim Farrell, but irritating you and to hear that I do, that's just that warms my heart. So, all my hard work is paying off on that. DBD 5844 says the Nazi fascist white nationalist regime of pedophiles wants to abolish these holidays: Martin Luther King Day, Kwanzaa, Juneteenth, Cinco de Mayo, I guess is what we're trying to say, and anything that celebrates people of color heritage. Yeah, we don't need those. Those are woke. We don't need those woke fucking holidays, man. That's what woke. We're anti-woke, right? Yeah, that's what they would say. Those are woke. We don't need those woke holidays. We just need Christmas and Easter because, that's celebrating the birth of our Lord and Savior, and then the death and resurrection of our Lord and Savior. And we need Christopher Columbus Day because Columbus was the great discoverer, the great white European discoverer of the New World. So, yeah, we need that one. Whatever. Yeah. But those other ones are woke. None of that woke shit. Roxanne79's here, says howdy, Trucker John and loungers. Hello, Roxanne. Good to see you. Guys, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share button, if you would. And if you've already done it, then I guess you don't need to do it again. Unless it's on a different device, but a different channel. Like a different sign up or whatever. You know what I mean? I think you guys know what I mean. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Danny Pomeroy says Congress gave up all their oversight powers to Donald in 2023. Get real. Remember, the RNC fired all them Republican workers and put a Trump family member in charge. Hello, MAGA. It always was a con on you. Okay. Certainly does seem that way, huh? That Congress has capitulated. The Republican Congress, the Republican-led Congress, let's emphasize that. The Republican-led Congress has capitulated to Donald Trump. Twisted Nerve Painting says, yes, John, I think public money should tear it down. The public didn't vote to have it and never would have. And also, it probably costs a lot. Like if they're spending $200 or $250 million to build it, it wouldn't cost that much to tear it down. It's not going to cost $200. You know what I mean? Like, at first I was thinking like, we don't want to spend taxpayer money to tear it down, so they'll probably just keep it. But they could probably tear it down for a hell of a lot less than when they, spend to build it. Probably like, I don't know, $10 million or something to demo it and clear it out. I don't even know. I'm just saying, if it costs $250 million to build, it won't come anywhere near that to tear it down. So it might be money well spent, like you're saying. Nick Rich has got to go catch a phone call. Josh says, Roxanne, there was some minor damage. Or there was some minor drama. Okay, I'm mid-thread. I'm getting mid-thread now. So I don't even know what that was about. Christina Sun says, Sean's making me jealous. I need coffee. Yeah, I got my coffee. Roxanne 79 says, Josh, between whom Jen and TJ, it wasn't Groove Dragon, was it? Okay, I'm getting really mid-thread and I don't know, so I don't know what we're talking about. That's okay, but it's okay. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. That's fine. Everyone wants coffee now. At least this is probably 16 or 18 minutes ago. Everyone's wanting some coffee. Go get you guys some. I hope you got your coffee. Get your coffee. Get settled in. If it's your second cup, go ahead and splurge. Have a second cup. I'm not. That's on you. That you got. You know what your body can handle. If you can handle 2 cups or 3 cups or a whole pot, it's up to you. You know, Michelle. Yes, that's a good idea, John. Get more people to vote. To get more people to vote. I don't even remember what my idea was. My great idea. Maybe about the Trucker John big dump general strike. Maybe, I don't know. Marsha says even drug dealers get due process. DPD 5844. They have also been blowing up boats in the Caribbean. Extrajudicial fucking murders. There's no need for that. And I really want to hear about the 2 people that survived so far. I really haven't heard from them. But I haven't. Maybe they're keeping them locked up because the story's going to be that we're just fucking fishermen, or whatever, And they'll be able to prove that that person has no history of drug running or drug smuggling or anything like that, Yeah, Marcia says he never shows any proof when he kills civilians. They haven't shown anything. They haven't shown anything, any evidence, nothing. Mad Mac, he has no balls, hence needing a ballroom. Well, I was thinking that today also. That this ballroom is like, you talk about overcompensation. You know how people overcompensate because they got a little dick. Apparently, he's got little balls too, because I think this ballroom is just overcompensation for his little balls. Marshall Jones, he hates being called Eric's dad. And Louse. Those 2 things. Call him a louse and call him Eric's dad, and he'll start throwing ketchup. Just watch out for the ketchup. Sandy Full says, TJ, what would you do if your name was Donald instead of John? If I was Trucker Don? I don't know. Probably nothing. I would probably just be pissed. I'm already a little pissed off that his middle name is John. But, it is what it is. Elizabeth Martinez, collect the cockroaches and release them at his dance hall. Jet-based Trucker John, I don't enjoy semen facials, TJ. That's one person who doesn't. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it. Boy, I'm just kidding. Seems there's a sorry guys and gals. New meds kicking in. Can't keep them eyes open. Steven Sayers, get some rest, man. Yeah, take a well-deserved break. Let the meds do their job, and go ahead and go off into blissful sleep, and hopefully feel better when you wake up. Barbara Nicholas says, DPD, they blew up another boat today. Oh, yeah, we've been talking about the boats. This time in the Pacific Ocean, 2 people on board. Wow. Marshall Jones, he also said Mexico would pay for the wall. Yeah, he just lies. Mexico did not pay for the wall, and he's not paying for the ballroom. It's going to come out. I'm sure it's going to come out of our taxpayer money or whatever. Bethany S.R. Ball says, my aide told me she might lose her SNAP benefits In November, she won't be able to pay her bills because she has to buy food. Yeah. And just put that squarely on the Republicans. They're the ones in charge. This is the Republicans. They refuse to open the government. They've gone on vacation. They're somewhere, Cancun, was it Cancun, Ted? They're down in Cancun with their toes in the sand and a drink in their hand. Roxanne, I love brisket. Brisket, I love brisket. David Duck says, me too, John. The brisket is great. Add bacon. Yeah. Add some bacon on there. I like Arby's. I like Denny's, Sandy Foltz says some guy got arrested for treating and harassing guys who work in the White House. That's why, TJ, you need to watch what you say about Trump on your show. But this was a guy who, apparently, you're saying a guy who works in the White House. So they, they knew who he was, or they could see what he was doing. I mean, I'm so far removed. I don't know if I have to really worry about it. Now, if I had 1 million subscribers and we were getting hundreds of thousands of views, then maybe I would worry if Trump saw me. But our little channel, 44 watching, 4,000 subscribers. I think we're so far off the radar that I don't think I have to worry about it. I think we'll be okay, Sandy. I think I'll be okay. Witchy Woman is here. Witchy Woman, otherwise known as Kimchi, is here. Hey, Kimchi, good to see you. The goddess Kimchi says, hello, beautiful people. Hello, Trucker John, Aaron, and Jolie. I think Aaron might be doing something today. Good to see Witchy Woman Kimchi. David Dog, my watch doesn't stand up. Mine does that too. But not right now. Not right at the moment. It's not telling me to do it, but it does do it. It'll say, time to stand up. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll stand up. It's the least I could do. It's the least I can do. A witchy woman. A witchy. Mr. Buck, did someone mention coffee? A little while ago, I think everyone was on a little coffee break, a little coffee run there. A little bit. A little bit. My coffee's just about done. Good to the last drop. Yep, no more. Now I'm down to water. Wayne Goins here. Wayne Goins says, hi. ICE is purchasing artillery? I wouldn't put it past them. I shudder to think what's going to happen. Like I said, we're only 10 months into this. I do fear escalation. I do fear ICE getting more and more militant. But I'm hesitant to say something. I feel like I'm jinxing it or bringing it on or whatever. But I am very afraid of of what may be lying ahead here. Whatever. With regards to ICE and this whole immigration thing, it's just, I can see it getting really, really dangerous and deadly for a lot of innocent people. Damon Dog says, if these leaves falling were white, it would look like a snowstorm in my front yard. Leaves are falling, huh? So yeah, I'm skipping down a little bit. Danny Pomeroy says, well, I guess the first border wall law enforcement to go will be ice pops. Marcia says the J is for genius. Donald J. Trump, I guess we're talking about. Damon Dogga says it's a beautiful day here in the Piedmont, North Carolina, 70 and very sunny. Sounds absolutely lovely. Lovely. MJ Daniel says billionaires are already buying spots in the Epstein ballroom so they can laugh at the rest of the peasants. It is a very like, you know, let them eat cake moment or whatever. You know, it's a very like people aren't able to buy groceries. They're not going to get their health care. You know, people can't afford their rent. And Trump's going to make a fucking $250 million ballroom to put his balls in, I guess. DBD 5844 says, TJ, the two fishermen that survived were sent back to Ecuador and Colombia. At least that's what they claim, but who's to say? They didn't execute. It's not so far-fetched. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. I haven't heard anything. Cancun cruise. Yeah, that's what it was. Jill Base says, Soulcraft, I'm hanging in there. It's great in Portland. Fall is here, which is really nice. I'm thrilled Portland demonstrated for the nation how to protest this asshole. The nation did great. Golf Marine says you can't get your newspaper from the end of the driveway without tripping over a turkey. Really? I haven't seen any turkeys in a long time running around. Mrs. Fogg, they do have a sell on pikes at Walmart made in China. Satire. Danny Pomeroy says that Arby's pounder roast beef is great with horseradish. I don't like horseradish, by the way. Now they have sirloin steak tips at Arby's. All that's needed is in the stir fry. I've seen the commercials about those steak tip things. Those might be something to check out. I am sans horseradish. I do not like horseradish. I've tried it even recently because I've noticed as I've gotten older, like I used to always hate onions, but now I'm sort of eating onions on stuff now and kind of liking it. So I think I tried horseradish fairly recently. It's been a while, but I guess fairly recently, just to see if maybe my taste buds have changed. And as far as horseradish is concerned, nope, hasn't really changed. Still don't like the horseradish. What have I done? What have I done with the chat? What have I done? I messed up the chat. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Yeah, MJ Daniel says, according to Randy Rainbow, Trump's middle name is Jessica. Yeah, I like Randy Rainbow. He's funny. Roxanne79 says Dinky isn't going to pay those contractors, just like he's not going to donate anything to charity. Number one, I always tell contractors, all 45 that are with our big 45 person audience, but I'm always trying to tell the contractors, anyone who does any work for Donald Trump, get the fucking money up front. Never do any work for Donald Trump until you get paid in full up front. And if he doesn't like it, tell him to pound sand and go find somebody else. That's my advice to any contractor who does any work for Donald Trump. Tell him, okay, you're going to have to pay 100% in advance. If you don't like these terms, go find someone else, you motherfucker. That's what I would tell him. Number one. Number two, What was the other thing you said? About the charity. Oh yeah. By the way, you mean the charities that you and your family are barred from ever organizing or being a part of because you've been proven to be a rip-off artist? You rip off the charities, so you're not even legally allowed to run a charity? You mean that that type of a charity, that type of a deal? You know, I mean, so Roxanne brings up two great points: that Donald Trump is a grifter and will cheat you out of every dime, every nickel and dime he can. He won't pay you, or he'll pay you pennies on the dollar and say, if you don't like it, you can sue me, and he'll just tie you up in court for 10 years. And so people say, well, I'll just take whatever I can. I'll take the fucking 10 cents on the dollar. So that's why my advice is, motherfucker, get 100% upfront. Everyone should do that for Donald Trump. When anyone who's dealing with Donald Trump should say, okay, you've got to pay in full upfront, and then he would never be able to get anything done because no one will work for him. Come on, people, be smart. Come on, contractors, be smart. And then, and then as far as charities go, they can't even run. The Trump family can't even have anything to do with organizing or running a charity because they've been proven so many times to rip off charities. They're fucking grifters. They're fucking rip-off artists. They're con artists. And the American people, you've been conned. And okay, and I can think, okay, you know, the whole thing, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, fool me twice, shame on me. We ain't gonna get fooled again. Type of a deal, but okay, so everyone got conned, but you maggots out there, you continually get conned over and over and over again. You keep falling for the old Lucy pulling the football away from you at the last second. Stop getting conned, you stupid fucks. Learn from your lessons. That's the fucking key of life, is to learn from your mistakes. Stop making these same mistakes. Stop trusting this man. He's not trustworthy. He's a grifter. He's a thief. He's a con man. Stop contracting with him, contractors. Tell him to go pound sand. Have some balls of your own, you contractors. Unless you're getting 100% of the fees up front. Jesus H. Christ. How many times have I got to say it? How many times you got to get burned before you learn not to stick your hand in the fire? For God's sakes. America? How many times we got to stick our fucking hands in the fire before we learn not to do that anymore and stop burning our fucking fingers? We had this motherfucker once in 2016. In 2017 when he was sworn in, and we were stuck with him for 4 years, and we went through COVID, and we had 4,000 people a day dying because of this motherfucker, because of his ineptitude. And what did you do? 4 years after he was out of office, you elected him again? You fucking fools! You fucking fools! You elected him again? What were you thinking? America? The fuck were you thinking? Jesus H. Christ. You make me ashamed. You make me ashamed to call myself an American. All you motherfuckers that voted for Trump, you make me ashamed. Because I'm ashamed of you. And we're all in this together. You fucks. Mad Max says Sandra Bullock has said on the Ellen Show that she loves semen facials. Made me appreciate her even more, laughing out loud. I was just reading this. I didn't pre-read it, so that caught me a little off guard. I have to admit, Mad Max, that caught me a little off guard. I might not have read it so loudly. Otherwise, Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. Hey, good to see the Big Hook in the driver's lounge. As per always, looking forward to Big Hook's call into Liberal Dan Show tonight, 8 o'clock Central, right here on YouTube, guys. Don't miss it. Don't you dare miss it. Don't you dare miss it tonight. I almost saw Demon Dog. Demon Dog. Why is ICE buying 700% increase in weapons? Sounds like they're gearing up. They're gearing up. That's Trump's army. That's Trump's army. Now, I guess you don't need to run a sub 14-minute mile to operate a howitzer or whatever the fuck they're buying. I don't know. So that's the scary thing. That's a scary thought, Damon Dog, big dog. DPD 5844 says, I am so sick and tired of being afraid of an orange pedophile who waddles around in a shit-stained diaper and a piss bag with cankles to boot. Fuck Trump in the most driest way. I know, I'm so sick of him too, DPD. I'm so sick of this motherfucker. And I think at least 61% of us are also sick of the motherfucker. That's why we need to keep with the peaceful protesting. We need to keep showing up. We need a general strike. We need to put our demands down. Our demands are get this motherfucker out of office and lock his ass up. That should be our fucking. They keep saying, "What's next? What's next? What's next? What are we going to do next? What's the big theme for our next protest?" That should be it. Lock him up. Let's just go straight to it. Lock his ass up. Get him out of office and lock him up. That should be our demand. That should be our common theme. Golf Marine says when crime is legalized, opposition is mandatory. Wayne Goen says, I wonder if all those ICE guys are willing to be deployed to other countries like Putin's Wagner. Twisted Nerd Painting says, hello there. Roxanne79, I hope you are having a good afternoon. Roxanne79 says, crime is definitely legalized now. Mr. Spock says, as God is my witness, this is in quotes, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Not sure who that's attributed to. Big Hook. Ice was in New York this morning. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier. Christina, Sungo Squad, who lives in where are you at? Brooklyn, Christina? I forget, or Queens, said she hadn't seen any. I guess Queens hadn't seen any in her area yet. But I did in the intro. We've got video of that too. Some video from I guess from yesterday. Damon Dog, I make my own horsey sauce. Big Hook. Ice was in. Oh, I just read that. Twister Painting says we live in between two nature preserves here, so we have huge flocks of wild turkeys that move between them. They come rile up the cats by pecking on the basement windows every year. That's kind of funny. That'd be an interesting video, by the way, I think. Danny Pomeroy says his charity, talking about Trump, his charity are churches, Jim Jordan and Comer and Mike Johnson churches. Hello. I thought there would be more to that post, actually. Barbara, I'm skipping down. Barbara Nicholas says I had wild turkeys in my backyard. Found out that they come to eat the slugs. So that serves a good purpose, probably. Just skipping down a little bit. Christina says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, I'm a idiot. I added the third one. Well, I always like to do the, we won't get fooled again, because that's like George Bush. Because he couldn't remember the saying. So he's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, we won't get fooled again. You know, so that's what I do. Anyhow. Petrozzi 20 says those 90 million that didn't vote fucked us. Vote, people, vote. God damn it. Jesus Christ. What does it take? If this doesn't get people to vote, having a fucking fuck up fucking authoritarian dictator who is stripping away due process rights and stripping away the Constitution every single day, if that doesn't get people to want to vote, then I don't know what will. Nothing will. You know, it'll have to be total fucking Handmaid's Tale before people fucking wake up, and by then then you are in the resistance, and then you are in the where every day it's like you're either going to end up on the wall hanging, or you're going to be trying to run to Canada, or I mean, what the fuck? Doesn't, and the thing is, it doesn't have to be that. It didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. God damn it. DPD 5844 says, TJ, some people love the flames and the smell of burning flesh, even their own. That's sick. And that's in quotes. I don't know what that's attributed to. 007 Kevin Trollslayer says 1 zillion times for the Repubs, and even when Republicans die, their gravestones will say, was I that dumb? And then the answer would be, apparently so. Apparently you were. You were that dumb. Big Hook says, glad you enjoy my calls and Liberal Dan TJ, or is it Fowler's Wrath? Well, it's TJ here, and sometimes I do, and there's no secret. I've made no secret of the fact that I have a channel called Fowler's Wrath, and I also have a YouTube channel called Feet on the Dashboard. So, full disclosure there, transparency, all that good stuff. Wayne, going. I'm not sure if I had this Wayne, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name last name right. Like going, maybe going. I don't know if I can trust elections anymore. Well, I know, and that's the predicament too that we're in. I mean, I encourage everyone to vote. I think we should all vote, but I also, I don't know if I trust the system anymore either. But we still got to vote. I think we still got to do it. Don't let that stop you from voting. I think we still need to vote, but Trump is causing us to lose faith in our systems and trust in our system, and it sucks. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says we could sing that take the key and lock him up, take the key, lock him up, my fair country. Yeah, we could. We could. Absolutely. Golf Marine says, let it sit. Okay, I'm mid-thread about something. I'm going to skip that. I get mid-thread on stuff, and so if I read it, it just really kind of, it's doesn't make sense because it's such a mid-thread thing. So I'm trying to get stuff that will still make sense if I read it. You know what I mean? And it's not in the middle of a conversation or something. Like Witchy Woman, for instance. This is mid-thread, but still, I could read it, and I think everyone could relate. Witchy Woman Kimchi says the only wild turkey I inject is a liquid spirit. All right. A witchy woman. David Windler is here today. Dave, good to see you. David Windler says there are 10 wild turkeys here. They fly. All right, skipping down in the chat a bit. Just a bit, just a little bit. A witchy woman. I'm not sure if I've ever drank wild turkey. Isn't that a whiskey? Isn't that a whiskey drink? I don't know if I've ever had wild turkey. Probably somewhere over the years I've probably had a wild turkey whiskey or whatever the hell it is. DBD 5844 says, I remember when the movies The Purge came out, and I distinctly remember telling people that one day this will be our reality. Does any remember? I remember those movies. I saw those movies, and they kind of just died out. Like, I think they left us with a like a still like the unfinished story, and they never did continue it, or maybe they did. Like, was the last one that was like it dealt with the a lot with the like immigration and stuff. Yeah, I remember those movies for sure. Mad Mac, that's the London Bridge is falling down song. TJ, lock him up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know. I knew it was. I wasn't sure what tune Christina was going for there. Witchy Woman says, laughing out, James. Pretty sure that was my experience. My family preferred Jack Daniels. It burns my tummy. I recommend Jameson. If you want that's a nice smooth fucking whiskey drink or whatever it is, and I recommend Jameson. It'll go down nice. It goes down nice and smooth. MJ Daniel says Seahawks chair Jody Allen confirmed all NFL game tickets purchased by Brewers Karen have been revoked, and that she is permanently banned from Lumen Field and all Seahawks related events. Ha karma. Well, she lived in Milwaukee, so I'm not sure if she was going to make any trips to Seattle. But still, yeah. Christina says, John, you don't know London Bridge is falling down. I do know it, but I didn't know that's what you were doing. DPD, yeah, TJ, they did deal with immigration. Yeah, that Purge movie. I think that was the last one. that I saw, or the last one that I saw. And that's been a few years ago now. Mad Max says, I have Maker's Mark when I want a sip or two. Twister Penny says, oh, if we are having whiskey shots, make mine Tullamore DEW, please. Roxanne79 says, thanks. Danny, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I'll have to make some gin. I make killer brownies, about the only good thing I make. John says, Woodford Reserve bourbon for me or Tito's vodka? Mostly just beers, though. I feel like we should have a party. We should have a little party. Let's get a party going, man. You guys making me want to get a little party going, a little party. Let's get a little party going. Bring our whiskey drinks and weed. Marcia says, whiskey or weed? I'm confused. Well, let's bring it all, baby. Let's bring it all. I don't know. Bring some Coke if you want. I don't give a fuck. No, I'm just kidding. But bring our favorite drinks. Bring our favorite weed. Sandy Folks, none of my posts have not been read. So that means they've been read, I guess. Sandy, I've read that's at least the third one that I read of yours, at least. Witchy Woman says, I just remember my dad had a 3-foot bottle of Seagram 7 with a huge pump top. Wow. Wow, that's the man knew how to do it. Knew how to do it right. Damon Dog says, I want to get a bottle of Willie's Remedies THC infused. Golf Marina says, I made some Applejack last week that was delicious, 140 proof with apple juice. Just a smidge is all it takes. Mad Max says the Forever Purge was the 5th and final in the franchise, 2021. Is that the one with the Mexican immigration issue one? That's the one I saw. Was it longer ago than 2021? Oh my God, time just flies by so fast. Danny Pomeroy, John, I quit drinking 32 years ago. Okay, and so you don't have to partake. You could have a near beer or whatever, or whatever. Whoops. You can have a sparkling apple cider drink. MJ Jano says, I did that in the late 70s. I am too old for that kind of shit now. Just a little 420 before bed. Yeah, I know. Me too, MJ. The Coke part. I went a little far. Yeah. I'll leave that to the 80s for me. Roxanne 79 says, Josh, that sounds yummy. I hear Blue Dream is the perfect strain to cook with. Barbara Nicholas says, sorry, everyone, but I hope Toronto Blue Jays win World Series just despite Taco. Well, I'm go Dodgers. I'm all Dodgers, so I kind of resent that. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone likes who they like. Can like whoever you like, but I'll be rooting for the Dodgers. Twist Nurse Penny says, made a batch in the winter about 10 years ago. Not sure what that was about. Jet Basic Trucker John, is Sandy fourth here? Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that. You don't need to be starting shit. Mad Max says, yeah, Maker's Mark has red wax on the top of the bottle. They dip it after the stuff is bottled. Good and smooth, man. Maker's Mark. I still have that bottle of Hennessy unopened, by the way. Golf Marine says, if you soak a couple buds in moonshine, it will dissolve all the cannabinoids into the shine. Shine, shine. DPD 5844 Makers, or is it Marker's Mark? I think Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark, right? And Jameson, the most expensive whiskey is okay. Are we doing? Anyhow, the Delmore 62 costs $200,000. It comes in a beautiful crystal bottle. Yeah, I won't be drinking that anytime soon, so unless someone gave it to me for free. David Dog says, I just looked at Willie's Remedy is $75 a bottle. That's crazy. Petrossi 20 says, I live near the Bourbon Trail here in Kentucky. If you like bourbon, it's worth a visit. I remember driving through Kentucky as a truck driver and seeing all the. I think I drove right by the Jack Daniels, whatever they call it, place, and I think also the other one. So they got Jack Daniels and Jim Beam. I think I drove by Jim Beam over there. Twisted Nerve Painting says, oh, Applejack, I made some by freezing down some apple wine and mead that we had made. Golf Marine says, whichever California MLB make it deep in the playoffs becomes my team. Well, it's the Dodgers. Dodgers are in the World Series, so go Dodgers. Witchy Woman Kimchi says, so all signs and economic indicators and general inflation is going to get worse, recession, if not worse. What can we do to weather this financially? Thanks. I don't know. It's almost like if you haven't got a good sort of, I don't know, emergency fund thing going now, it might be too late to have any like emergency funds, and everyone's going to be scraping along. So I don't know. David Dog says Kentucky alcohol industry is hurting with the Canadian boycott. Yeah, that's right. When as soon as Trump started doing that shit, they fucking took all the fucking Kentucky whiskey off the shelves and all that shit. Yep. Wayne Goen says my grandpa had a still and made whiskey. I helped my dad make a few batches when I was a kid. 2 50-gallon oak barrels for the mash, 25-gallon copper still, and charred oak legs for storage. Wayne, did you ever see that movie? It came out a few years ago. It was based on a true story. I can't remember the name of it. It had like, was it Tom Ford? What's that one actor? He's an English guy, but he's been in a lot of big movies. God, who else was in it? There was a pretty good cast. It was about these brothers. It was supposed to be. It was like in the 1930s or the 1920s. It was during the Prohibition, of course, and they were one of the they had a still in the fucking boondocks, and so it was about them making whiskey and sort of skirting the FBI or whatever. I can't remember that movie, but it was pretty cool. And they were making their moonshine out there. I can't remember that movie, but it was good. It was a good movie. What's that guy's name? Is it Tom Ford? The guy, he's kind of muscular and he's a really good actor. I can't remember. I can't remember for sure. I don't remember the name of the movie. Mad Max says, whenever I'm in the mood, it's either Jameson or Maker's Mark. I like Jameson. I like me some Jameson. Wayne Goen says, Grandpa was a bootlegger and went to prison for it. Witchy Woman says Fafo, Kentucky. GDP 5844 says, TJ, when you do open your bottle of Hennessy, you should try it with Coke and a twist of fresh lime or lemon. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had Hennessy before, but there it is. A little bottle of it. Golf Marine says, I have a 5-gallon mash igloo, and a large stainless steel fire extinguisher, copper tubing, etc. A little over 1-gallon batch. I guess it costs $6 to make, I guess. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. Yes, Mr. Spot. Well, Shia LaBeouf was one of them. The other guy, the main guy, I think his name is Tom Ford, right? Or Tom. He's the more, husky guy. I think was it Jessica Chastain was like the cute redhead or whatever, and then the other brother, he's been in a lot of stuff, and I can't remember his name, but it was like three brothers. Yeah, but Mr. Spock, yeah, Shia LaBeouf I think was in it. He was like the youngest brother. Damon Dog says bootlegging and running from the law is how NASCAR got started. That is the legend. Yep, that is the story. Wayne Goen says Grandpa never worked a steady job. He made whiskey his whole life. Instead, he had a small farm. 007 Kevin, Papa was a Rolling Stone. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. Yeah, Mr. Spock, I can't remember, but it was a really good movie. Yeah, Tim Roth was like the bad guy, I think. And Mr. Spock, you remember Jessica Chastain, right? Or that's her, the redhead? But she was fucking hot. I like little redheads. She was fucking hot in that movie. Right? Am I right? I can't remember the name of the movie, though. For the life of me. I can't remember the name of the fucking movie. Mad Max says, my pappy said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln. I have caught up to the chat, and we are over 2 hours and 7 minutes, so that means the show is over, folks. I'm out of here. Goodbye. If you ever watch the very end of these broadcasts, you'll know what you will know what I just did. But not all of you stick all the way to the end, so only a few of you probably know what I just did. Marshall Jones, do you mean Lawless? Tom Hardy. It might have been Lawless, and yes, Marshall Jones, Tom Hardy. What was I saying? Tom Jones or something? Yes, Tom Hardy. I think it might have been Lawless, Marcia. Thank you. Anyhow, a really great movie, and the only reason I brought it up is because Wayne Goen's grandpa, his story, it just reminded me of that movie. I believe it might have been called Lawless. Yeah, Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, and the other brother, who's kind of famous. I mean, he's been in a lot of movies. And Jessica, is it Chastain? Justine? Hot redhead? Whatever. She was in it. Christina Sun Ghost Squad says, much love to everybody. I do love getting myself together because I have some cards to read tonight. God willing, see you all. Love them. That's right. What's today? Today's Wednesday. I think Christina's doing a live stream tonight also, so you might want to check that out. Yeah, Danny Pomeroy. I did say that was in the show, so everyone's kind of saying their goodbyes here. Yeah, so we've got the Wednesday night readings with Christina. I know we got Liberal Dan on tonight also. So if you guys have two devices, multiple devices, or you go back and forth, give each show some love, give the thumbs ups and some comments. You know, we can share. We can share the airwaves or whatever. And so yeah, Christina's on tonight. Liberal Dan's on tonight. So yeah, go check out each show and give the shows your attention. Give them some attention. All right, guys, and there's the link there for Liberal Dan tonight for tonight's show, 8 o'clock Central. Yeah, Jason Clark. Thank you, Marsha. Marsha's on it. Marsha knows that movie. Yeah, Jason Clark, Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, Jessica Chastain, I believe. If you like hot little redheads, I highly recommend the movie Lawless. I believe it's called Lawless. And also, it was a good movie about moonshiners from the freaking 20s, I guess it was, or 30s. I recommend the movie. Jolie says also, if you're a Nighthawk insomniac, come along out at Political Punk for late night fun and politics. I believe I've been watching that guy on the replays. Is he the one who wears like a cap and kind of the long hair in the back, right? I've just watched a couple of his. I don't know if they were live streams or just videos, but he was talking about being like his show's getting taken off, being pulled off from YouTube by YouTube or something. I saw a couple of those recently, but yeah, he seems pretty good. Seems good. Anyhow, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So just remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just remember the days of the week that start with a T. Wait, see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, there's only Tuesdays and Thursdays. The days of the week that start with a T, we come on at 9 a.m. On the Lord's Day, we don't do a show at all. We rest. We rest on the first day. Swear to God, for years and years and years, I think until just fairly recently, I always thought Sunday was the seventh day. So, because I'm like, God rested on the seventh day, and and all that kind of shit. I always thought Sunday was the seventh day, but then someone's like, no, because in there, I think we were talking about the Seventh-day Adventist, and I'm like, what's their fucking deal? And they're like, well, because I guess the Bible says the Sabbath is on the seventh day. And I'm like, well, it is. Like, everyone goes to church on Sunday. And they're like, no, that's the first day. They're like, look at the calendar. And I'm like, lo and behold, yeah, the first day of the week, it shows Sunday. And it goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I'm like, son of a gun. I just thought Sunday was the seventh day. And they're like, no, it's the first day. So I'm like, well, that's weird. Anyhow, so I take my Sabbath on the first day of the week, and so there's no show on the first day of the week, which is Sunday, and then all the other days we do shows, but the days that start with T, we come on at 9 a.m. The other days we come on at 11 a.m. Boy, that was a really tortured way of telling you the times that we come on. Anyhow, guys, thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to the show. We're at over 4,168 subscribers, so thank you guys for at least help keep us out there in the algorithm and keep growing. Hey, Bet you thought I wasn't going to come around, huh? I just thought I'd pop in real quick and say, hey, everybody. Yeah, I gotta go, but just wanted to say hi and make sure you guys keep the faith, man. Keep the faith. It's gonna get tough, you know, and that's why you gotta be a tough cookie, you know. Times are tough, so we all gotta be tough cookies now, don't we? Not just me, but all of us. We all gotta be tough cookies because times are gonna get tough. So hang in there. Just hang in there, man. Be a tough cookie. Be a tough purple beard guy too. You know, us beard guys, us purple beard guys. You know, we learn how to live under adversity because not everyone likes a purple beard guy. You know, they make fun of us and they're like, "Oh, look at that purple beard guy. He must be woke or something." Only a purple beard guy would be a purple beard guy. Look at that woke dude. So yeah, you learn how to, you learn how to survive. So I guess that's what we're going to be doing real quick. We got to learn how to survive these next few years, and hopefully we can all do that. But together, it's going to take all of us together. So hope to see you guys out at the next march, the next peaceful protest. Let's just keep marching. Let's keep marching all the way to the White House. Anyhow, thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you. Yeah, and I do too. I appreciate you guys too. I already hit that one, but thank you guys so much for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. What is this guy again? What does this guy do? Let's see. Look at there. Oh, it gives me little devil horns and I guess flaming flame coming out of my mouth. Anyhow, I don't know. I didn't know if I was supposed to open my mouth or whatever. I'm just playing with the stuff here now. What's this one do? Oh, look at. Oh yeah, we got this like a weird ice cream thing or something. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. All that really is left to do is the words of wisdom. So go ahead, get your pen and pad and paper. Write this down. These are really good. These words of wisdom are really good. I get them from Reader's Digest, old issues of Reader's Digest, actually. So they're good, right? Okay, you guys ready? Here's today's words of wisdom. All right, guys. So number one, just always remember to.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hostile of Easter, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win. Right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.